Welcome to the Health Deep Dive. Today we're digging into the ideas of Nobel Prize winner Otto Warburg. Specifically, his thoughts on cellular health and, well, how our everyday habits might play a really big role.
Exactly. We're looking at his core concept about keeping the internal environment, the one our cells live in, healthy. And we'll touch on some practical guidelines often linked to his work.
Right, and his central idea, it seems, revolves heavily around oxygen, doesn't it?
It really does. Warburg's fundamental belief was that our cell's health is directly tied to getting enough oxygen. Our daily routines, he argued, either help that process or will hinder it.
Okay, let's unpack that, the core idea.
Yeah.
Cells need oxygen to function properly, even to survive. Simple, but profound.
Very profound. And he connected this directly to what we do every day. It wasn't just abstract biology. It was about how our choices impact oxygen availability at the cellular level. That's quite empowering, really.
So based on that, there are these guidelines often attributed to him. Let's start with rule number 1, beginning the day with warm water and lemon. What's the reasoning there?
Well, the idea is multifaceted. First, hydration. Obvious, maybe, but crucial after hours of sleep. Our bodies are, 60% water? So replenishing first thing is important.
Makes sense. And the warm water and lemon part?
Warm water is thought to be absorbed easily. The lemon, proponents say, helps create a less acidic internal environment, though our bodies have strong pH buffers anyway, and it sort of gently wakes up the digestive system and metabolism.
Interesting. There was an anecdote mentioned about a woman who swapped her morning coffee for this.
Yes, exactly. She reportedly noticed less swelling, better digestion, clearer thinking, all within a few weeks. It made her wonder if she was just chronically dehydrated, not necessarily just aging. A small change, potentially big impact.
Okay, guideline number 2, daily salads. Why salads specifically?
Fresh vegetables, especially those leafy greens. Warburg apparently saw them as vital sources of alkalinity, minerals like calcium and magnesium, and enzymes needed for, optimal cellular respiration using that oxygen effectively.
So it's not just eat your greens for vitamins, but for actually supporting the cell's energy processes and internal balance.
Precisely. The flip side, lacking these, could potentially lead to more acidity, inflammation, maybe fatigue, joint pain, even affecting things like skin and nails. It's framed as really fundamental for cellular life.
Got it. What about rule 3? This one's about snacking, right?
Yeah, snacking. The concern was that many typical snacks, sugary, salty, starchy things, can contribute to a more acidic state in the blood, potentially making it harder for oxygen to get where it needs to go.
And weakening our defenses, maybe? So what did he suggest instead?
Healthier alternatives. Almonds often come up. They provide calcium, magnesium, help stabilize blood sugar, and are less acid-forming. Spirulina was another one mentioned. Iron, protein, good for the immune system and gut.
Almonds, okay. I think there's another example linked to this. Someone changing their snacks.
Right. A woman who cut out sweets, chose almonds, drank that lemon water. Reportedly, her stomach issues improved, cholesterol dropped, and even her mood got better. Again, connecting simple food swaps to broader health outcomes.
It's compelling how these small daily choices might add up. What's guideline 4?
Movement. Regular physical activity, pretty standard advice, but Warburg's angle was specific.
How so? Beyond just general fitness.
He saw movement as absolutely key for removing acidity, boosting blood flow, which means better oxygen delivery, and clearing out lymphatic fluid. Basically keeping the cellular neighborhood clean and well supplied.
So inactivity leads to buildup, like stagnant water.
Kind of. A buildup of acids, toxins, leading to that feeling of fatigue, sluggishness, maybe inflammation.
And there was an example of an older man.
Yeah, who started just walking 15 minutes a day. Simple, right. But he apparently found his knee pain eased up and he felt less tired overall. Shows that even gentle, consistent movement counts.
Okay, movement is key. Number 5, breathing. This seems basic, but there's more to it.
Definitely more to it from Warburg's perspective. It's all about getting enough oxygen in. He stressed deep, proper breathing. So much of modern life encourages shallow breathing, which he saw as essentially starving our cells.
Starving the cells? That sounds dramatic.
Well, think about it. If oxygen intake is consistently low, the brain, heart, all organs might be operating below their potential, like running on half power.
So what did he recommend? Just breathe deeper.
Pretty much. Getting fresh air, walking in nature helps, but also just consciously practicing deeper breaths, even just opening a window more often.
I remember reading about a man somewhere in Russia
St. Petersburg, yes. He started daily breathing exercises. His blood pressure reportedly improved, and chronic headaches vanished. It highlights how fundamental oxygen intake is.
Fascinating. Okay, Rule 6 deals with meat. Friend or foe in this context?
Well, it's nuanced. The concern was mainly with fried, smoked, or very fatty meats. These were seen as overloading the system, increasing acidity, promoting inflammation.
So not necessarily no meat, but how you eat it.
Exactly. His suggestion was leaning towards smaller portions, maybe around 150 grams, of lean meat, and preferably boiled or steamed, perhaps just once a day. Balancing it with meat-free days or fasting periods was also mentioned.
And the example here.
A woman who switched from maybe fried meats to boiled and added a vegetarian day each week. She reported improvements in stomach pain, cholesterol levels, and just feeling generally healthier.
Interesting. Now, number 7 is a bit counterintuitive. Potentially harmful vegetables. I thought veggies were all good.
Mostly, yes, but the focus here was on maintaining that alkaline balance. Some vegetables, particularly high-starch ones, like, say, white potatoes, convert to sugar quite quickly in the body.
Ah, so that could potentially increase acidity, disrupting the balance he emphasized.
That was the idea. So the recommendation was often to perhaps swap some of those high-starch options for more alkaline-promoting ones, like Brussels sprouts, asparagus, zucchini, eggplant, bell peppers, that sort of thing.
And the anecdote for this one, a man from Voronezh.
Yes. He apparently cut back on potatoes, increased steamed, non-starchy vegetables. The reported results were less fatigue, better digestion, even healthier-looking skin.
Okay, final rule number 8, water. We started with it, but this is about ongoing intake.
Absolutely fundamental. Water is the transport system. It carries nutrients to cells, carries waste away, it regulates temperature, helps balance pH. Cells literally live in it.
So just drink more water.
Pretty much, but specifically water, not sodas, not sugary juices. At least 2 liters a day was often the recommendation, ideally warm or room temperature, possibly alkaline water, sipped throughout the day, not chugged all at once.
Starting in the morning, as we discussed. And there was a quote about soda.
Ah, yeah, a striking one. 1 glass of sugary soda needs 30 glasses of water to offset its damage. The point being, why create the problem in the first place? Just avoid it.
Wow. And the example linked to water intake.
A man who simply replaced his usual tea and soda with plain water. He experienced less acid reflux, felt physically lighter, and had more energy. Simple swap, noticeable difference.
Okay, so these 8 guidelines really paint a picture of creating a supportive internal environment, primarily focused on maximizing oxygen availability and minimizing acidic load.
That's a good way to put it. It's a holistic view connecting diet, hydration, movement, even breathing, back to that core need of the cells for oxygen.
Now, Otto Warburg is also famous in cancer research for something called the Warburg effect, right? How does that connect, if at all?
It does connect. Briefly, the Warburg effect describes his observation that many cancer cells tend to produce energy differently than healthy cells. They rely heavily on fermenting glucose, even when there's plenty of oxygen around, which is unusual.
So even with oxygen available, they use a less efficient anaerobic-like pathway?
That's the observation, yes. And while the reasons are still intensely debated and researched, as shown in those articles we looked at, his initial finding highlighted a fundamental difference in the metabolism of cancer cells. It ties back to his lifelong focus on cellular respiration and energy.
And research is still ongoing, looking at targeting this effect, maybe with things like curcumin, as mentioned in some sources.
Exactly. It remains a really significant area in cancer biology, exploring how this metabolic shift happens and if it can be exploited for therapy. It shows how his foundational work on cellular energy is still incredibly relevant today.
So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for you listening? Warburg's perspective, focusing on oxygen, really suggests that many everyday choices matter deeply at a cellular level.
From your first drink in the morning to your snack choices to how you move and breathe, it all potentially influences that internal environment. It puts the emphasis on consistent, conscious habits.
It suggests health isn't just luck, but maybe more about these consistent daily actions supporting our cells' basic needs.
That seems to be the core message. So we encourage you to think about these guidelines. Do any resonate? Could any be small steps you might incorporate?
We genuinely love to hear your thoughts. What health topics are on your mind? Any questions about today's discussion? Please drop a comment below. Our Science and Health Advisor, Marino Micheloni, ND, is ready to share his insights.
Yeah, your feedback really helps shape what we explore next.
And please, if you found this deep dive helpful, share it with family and friends. Understanding these kinds of foundational ideas about health can empower all of us to make more informed choices.